Good morning, everyone. Are you prepared? Some are laughing, some are looking like, please don't call on me. I noticed that look from when I was in education. Are you prepared over here? You were better. That has been our messages, and I could think of really no better way to end the year with the solemnity we celebrate and with the gospel we hear as we finish out year A in the liturgy. And next week you come in on Advent, we begin a new liturgical year, year B. And then the year after that, year C. You love the technical names for the church there. But all these past weeks, since the 18th week, which is the beginning of August, we've been hearing prepare, 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 prepare. Already in August, the church is looking at the Christmas message, okay? And you thought malls went quick. We're even quicker. But then as soon as we hit around October, towards the end, we really hit, I hate to use the cliche, the gas pedal. And we had many parables that were very blunt and at times very harsh on the message of being prepared. And we're hearing in this last week of the liturgical year another one that really is showing how we are judged, okay, and what part of what it is asked of us. And it's very blunt. You either go to heaven or you go to hell, and this is it. And this is what we are, what our Lord is asking of us. And so what we're hearing today is what's the parable they call the sheep and the goats, okay? And how they are separated by what they do for others. And it's something for us to remember that. We are judged on what we do for God's people that are all around us. We do this because we see Christ in them, and so we do everything we can to help them. And I'm always moved by the examples he's using, because what our Lord is really saying is treat the people around you better than I was treated. If you think about it, what are the examples he was using? I was thirsty and you gave me no drink, or you gave me drink for those who make it. What did he say from the cross? I thirst. What did they give him? Vinegar to drink. He wasn't fed all during that trial. There was no food. For when he was in prison, his own apostles abandoned him. He was clothed. They stripped him naked to crucify him. And so what he's really saying is treat the people around you better than I was being treated. And that's something for us to truly remember, especially at this time as we enter in a beautiful time, a fun time. I have a 5-year-old niece. My sister and I are already, we picked out the day where we're going to go to the Macy's and see the Dickens Village and the light show. Oh, that's fun. It's wonderful. It's a joyous time. And it's time to be spent with family, and all that is wonderful. But we also have to remember, too, that we have a spiritual dimension to prepare for as well. And a lot of times that can take on different things for each one of us, what we choose to do for our Advent, which begins next week. So that's what you really need to prepare for. Okay, time to prepare, to get yourself ready in this last week. What am I going to do with my Advent? Okay, Lent's usually a little easier. You have the Stations of the Cross, you have the poor boxes, whatever Lent's kind of easy because we think of it as penitential. We don't always think of Advent coming as penitential because of all the beauty around us. And it doesn't end with the Passion, it ends with the birth of the Christ child. But it is a time, a penitential season, and we can do our own acts of fasting. We can do our own acts of adding devotions, whatever we choose to do. But that's how you prepare. And one of the things also to remember, I don't know if you do it here. We already have ours up in my parish. Wow, this is really getting loud. We have the giving trees up. Okay, I don't know if you do that. I presume you're going to do something. One of the things you can do, and I would ask you to do, is you're preparing, say you take a tag and you're going to buy something for a child or, an adult or whatever it is, or you're going to give some food item to a particular collection. Whatever you do, one of the things you can also do to be prepared is, odds are you're not going to see the person who's receiving that item. That's just how it works. You usually don't see them. But I would encourage you, as you buy that particular item or the gift card or the food item, whatever it is, spend your Advent also praying for the person who is going to receive it. That's something very simple to do. Pray for them. They need the charity. They need the clothing. We need to feed them, yes, but we also need to pray for them. Okay, so remember to do that as well. All right, that's the way we prepare. We can do simple things. It doesn't have to be, this great and grandiose. They can be simple, beautiful things that we can do to help us prepare. But that has been the message. And now next week, we really start preparing because we begin the Advent season. And as I said, forgive me for just throwing this in real quick. Today we end, and we always end the liturgical year with this beautiful solemnity of Christ the King. And you might think, wow, this has to be an old solemnity. We began November with All Saints, the Solemnity of All Saints, which is one of our oldest, is 1,800 years old. Okay, the reason why we began All Saints, although it wasn't always placed in November, was we had more and more martyrs. And so they wanted to celebrate them. We had more martyrs than we did calendar days. And so we have All Saints. And you might think, Christ the King, that has to be an old one. It's not. It's not even 100 yet. Okay? We're coming soon to 100. 2026, it'll be 100. But it was instituted, if I can just give it this quick little history lesson, because it's a beautiful thing, even for our own time to remember. So I apologize for giving you 2 homilies. I'm almost done. It began in 1926 by Pius XI. And you might think, well, why then? Think about what happened. They were living under what was still the destruction of World War I, which changed everything. One of the things I was blessed to have, one of the people I was blessed to have in my life early on was one of my grandmother's dear friends. We used to call her Aunt Bess. And Aunt Bess told these incredible stories because Aunt Bess was born in the 1880s. And she had a lot to share. One of the things that always floored me is that when she was born, there were still people in this country that had living memories of Jefferson and Adams. Let that sit in. And so she would tell these stories, but she was a young woman in her 20s when World War I broke out. And, there were people that she knew who were lost. And we also had in our neighborhood, we used to call him Old Ike, I don't know his last name, who was a doughboy and had incredible experiences. But I remember them both saying, everything changed. The whole world changed. In a matter of 4 years, radically changed. And you're thinking about all those things that those people endured and everything that was happening. And you might say, well, how did it radically change? We're living in the world that created still. But it was a radical change. Just look at it from simple things that were happening. Russia, the heartland of Christian orthodoxy, becomes atheist country. It's communist, that's it, gone. Germany, who had a Kaiser who was the head of the German church, the Lutheran church, he's overthrown, he's out, he's done. And the church, while they remain Christian, basically gets decapitated. And it starts floundering. The people themselves, after enduring that, how could they not? They become very nihilistic. They don't believe in anything anymore. Their governments had failed them, their church had failed them. This is what they were living in. And you can actually say that it destroyed a 2,500-year-old culture that began with the Greeks. It was gone. There was nothing left of it. And like I said, they said everything changed. And so they were living under this chaos of that change. And one of the things that also came out in the 20s that you don't really think of because it's so ubiquitous today is that the culture of youth came out. The youth were having parties, living like there was no tomorrow because as far as they were concerned, after what they came through, they were in a shattered world and there might not be a tomorrow. And that was it. So you had all this chaos. And the Holy Father seen that. And what he did with the Feast of Christ the King is trying to instill in the people, and I think we need it today as well, is that with all the chaos in the world, all the craziness, Christ is still a constant. The world changes. The world can go through the craziness, but Christ is still the same. And what he asks of us is still the same. To care for our brothers and sisters in this world, to follow as he has led us. And so that has not changed. He is still the King. With all the craziness, there's no craziness with Christ. He is and always will be who he is, the King of the universe. And that's something we always have to remember, especially as our lives sometimes seem out of control and crazy. He's always the constant with us. God bless you.